First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those apostles and elders from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, this your brother Dawaba from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming right back at you with a little lesson. And as you see, I got this on Luke 23, and I'm gonna start at 28. The point really is in 31. You know, brothers bring this out all the time. You know, if they do, you know what? Instead of just quoting it, let me just read it. There's a specific reason why I'm getting this scripture, and you know, something happened at my job a few days ago, and I was going to do a video on a lesson on it. Was trying to figure out how I was going to do it, and you know, it just really just hit me right now just to really speak up on it. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get started. So this is Luke 23 and 28. It says, "But Yahushua turning unto them said, Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children." Now, as we know, this is when Yahushua was getting led to be put to death, to be hung on the cross. And he said, "For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, Blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us." Now, this is gonna, and you know, and he's sitting up here speaking of the days to come. It was gonna be some rough times, you know, to come. But here's the point. It says, "For if they do these things in the green tree, what shall be done in the dry?" And then I'm going to read this other part, and it says, "And there were also two other malefactors led with him to be put to death." You know, so one on the left, one on the right-hand side, you know, and that's balanced because, you know, one of the guys who was being put to death was sitting up here saying, "Hey, you know, well, I have a spot with you," and that's roughly paraphrasing, you know, where you are, can I come with you? And I'm just paraphrasing, brother, so forgive me. You know, I don't know exactly all the words he said, but, you know, one of them was sitting up here saying, you know, "Hey, look, we deserve to be up here, but you don't." But the other one was sitting up here saying, "If you got the power, then do something." So, you know, and that just shows you balance, man. You know, that one had faith and the other one was on some bullshit. But either way it goes, let me sit up here and go back to the point. This is Luke 23 and 31. "For if they do these things in the green tree, what shall be done in the dry?" Now, the reason I get this is because while I was at work, and this was Friday, some idiot decided to come. You know, it was a couple standing outside with their son. The kid couldn't have been no more than 3 or 4. They were standing in front of the building. They were having a conversation. And, you know, a guy walked by. And, you know, I looked at him and he didn't seem like nothing. But I seen that he stopped at the end of where one of our doors is. And he looked at them and he came back. Now, this is what this guy did. He came back and stood no more than maybe 12 feet away from them and dug his hand in his pants and started playing with himself while he was looking at the child. Now, this was a so-called Negro, a so-called black dude. This was a so-called black couple. This guy started looking at the child and started playing with himself right outside in the broad daylight in front of where everyone could see him, except, here's the point, the couple that was talking to each other. Me and the other person that was with me had seen him, and we went out there and said something to the guy. I was kind of pissed off, man. It really angered me. And I told him to get away. He started saying a few words, and then he ran away. He took off, you know. But the point that I'm making, if a person would do this in the green tree in front of everybody, not caring, his eyes were strict. You could tell where his eyes was, man. He was looking dead at the child. He wasn't looking at the woman. He wasn't looking at the man. I mean, I was looking dead at him. I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing? He looking dead at the child and stuck his hands in his stuff, started playing with himself and moving his pants around. You could see it. You know, there's no doubt about what he did. But the whole point of the matter is that, hey, the times ahead is about to be ugly, man. If a person would do this standing in front of a couple no more than 12 feet away, what's going to happen when there's no law? What's going to happen when no one says nothing to this guy and truly he wants to do something different? And that goes for the people that's out here, man. It's about to get real shady and grady out here, I'm telling you. You know, and people don't understand what's coming. People don't understand the danger that's coming. So with that, let me sit up here and grab Matthew 24. Because people don't understand, man. It says Matthew 24. I'm going to just start at 11. It says, and many false prophets shall rise, and many shall, you know what? Let's just start at 3, man. Let's just start at 3. But the point is down in 12, 13. It says Matthew 24 and 3, and it says, as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And you're seeing that quite a bit now. People are getting deceived left and right. And you got more than these pastors and these false ass Israelite groups out here too. You just got stars and all sorts of motherfuckers coming out of nowhere saying all sorts of abominable bullshit. And the Lord gonna put their ass to death, man, deceiving people. Christian Mims, that motherfucker Prince of Power, he gone. Captain Tazariak and all these other guys, man, Bishop Nate, all these guys, man, if they don't get their ass right, man, the Lord gonna put them to death. But it says Matthew 24 and 6, and it says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And as you see, what did Trump just do? He just took over Venezuela, and he just gangstered Venezuela. He did a Debo. Give me your shit. But you got to understand, these other nations are looking at what you're doing. Venezuela does other things with other nations, China, Russia. So just imagine, man, the backlash that's going to happen out of this, man. Trump is an imbecile, but we like Trump because what he's doing is he's forwarding everything that needs to be done. He's an idiot, but we like him as an idiot because what he's doing, he's going to get shit started. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep being an imbecile. We loving it. But it says Matthew 24 and 8, all these things are the beginning of sorrows. And these things are the beginning of sorrows. It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And that's going to be the prophets, man, out there on the highways and byways, man. They're going to hate you for this truth, man. They're hating you now. You got a lot of people that's waking up, but you got a lot of people that hate this truth, man. And our own people are the main ones, man, because here it is, it cuts they silly asses. But it says, and it says, and then shall they, it says, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And there you go, going back into the false prophets, going back into these motherfuckers, man. Gonna betray you, be offended by the things you say. These false prophets gonna be out here deceiving. And and you seeing it in great, great numbers now. So how much more do you need? How many signs do you need to see before you get kicked in your face and wake up? But here's the point. It says that because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And the reason I say that is because even though this guy was playing with him goddamn self in front of this little boy and his family, and they wasn't even paying attention until I came outside and she happened to look. The dude still was not even paying attention. But the whole point of the matter is that how much more if iniquity abound, the love of many gonna wax cold, he could have snatched that little kid, walked away. These guys ain't gonna give a damn, man, when this all hell break loose, man. They gonna snatch women, niggas, kids, dogs. They gonna defile everything that they possibly can on a goddamn planet because ain't nothing gonna stop them, And that's gonna be the rough times, man. Motherfuckers don't understand that Jacob's trouble is here. It just ain't fully kicked off, man. Motherfuckers being stupid. Which, hey, let me go ahead and go to it since I brought it up, man. That Jeremiah, Jeremiah 30, man. Hey, here we go. It says Jeremiah 30 and you know what, I'm just gonna go straight to the point. It says Jeremiah 30 and 7. Alas, for that day is great. And you know what? I got to start at 6. Jeremiah 30 and 6. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Hands on the pain, fear. Those what are those two things it's describing, pain and fear. When you look at the little cartoons and you see somebody scare somebody, and all of a sudden they turn white in the cartoon. It's supposed to be like a comedy or joke. But that's that fear. Your whole face, man, it just goes numb. And like the blood just leaves. Fear. It says, for the last that day is great. And this is Jeremiah 30:7. For the last that day is great, so that is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved up out of it. Now that saved up out of it is going to be the elect. But it's going to be none like it. It's going to be worse than all the times before. Just think about it. What Sodom and Gomorrah, you know. Just think about the destruction of Nineveh. Just think about the destruction of Pharaoh's army. Just think about all the destructions in the past, man. All the the flood and everything. Just think about all those things rolled up into one, man. And even more. That's going to be the terror that's coming. That's going to be the destruction that's coming. He said ain't going to be nothing like it. That great day. So nothing. And don't get confused of it being day. Jacob's trouble is going to be through a specific time frame. It ain't going to be just one day. You know, the Lord said one day is like 1,000 years to him. You know, it ain't going to be no 1,000 years, but it ain't going to be no one day neither. That Jacob's trouble is going to take, it's going to be moments, you know, whether it be weeks or months, who knows. But the whole point of the matter is it's going to be, you know, one of them times that's just going to be really, really bad. It's going to be a whole bunch of bad times, you know. And people ain't prepared, man, I'm telling you. You know, just looking at that guy just made me think about these scriptures. It made me think about, God damn, you do this shit right there, then what the fuck you gonna do, man, when all hell break loose, man? You ain't gonna give a damn, you know? But these are the times that's coming. This is the hell that's coming, you know? And I mentioned this earlier, man, because motherfuckers ain't circumspect at all, man. You know, Ephesians. How in the hell you ain't paying attention, man, to what, you know, to people, what they doing, man? This is Ephesians 5:15. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Walk circumspectly. Walk. Looking around, man. You know, circum means to look. Circum means to around. Spec means to see. So see or look around, man. You know. You're supposed to be looking around, man. Paying attention to the things you're doing, especially out in this world nowadays. It says, not as fools, but as wise. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming the time because the days are evil, man. You see these days, man, ain't nothing but bad shit happening. And you got to pay attention. And that goes for you, Akim, too, man. Pay attention to everything you're doing. Just don't be out here lolly, you know. You know, hey, look, I try to have moments of my life where I enjoy things. You know, I love to drink. You know, I have a moment throughout the week or here or there where I play bingo and have a little drink. You know, I still like watching little football games here and there. You know, but those things are not like I used to do, man. They few and far between now. I don't do them as much, you know. And when I do drink as much now, most of the time it's with brothers, man, you know, on certain days that I'm around them. I don't drink as much as I used to, you know. But those days I do look forward to having a moment with brothers, you know. You know. But either way it goes, man, hey, keep your mind focused. You know, like I said before, that was just a moment, man. I was looking at that. I'm like, God damn, that's some crazy shit. Right here in broad daylight, in front of everybody. That's what you gonna do? You know, but hey, like I said, brothers, just be focused and be circumspect, man, because things are about to get a lot more worse, man. So with that, I like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those apostles and elders from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. It's how he takes to the hopeful that you guys may be sealed sooner. With that, I always say stay prayed up, brothers. Pray for each other because we're almost up out of here. So with that, I'd like to say Kwam Yasharella and Abba Ball. And Anyahabatan Malakia. Shalom.